DNF'd, Max DNF'd. And it's so funny because it's like, I'm sure Max was furious when it happened. God. And then the moment he saw Kimi, he's just like, it's not George Russell.
Imagine being Kimi.
Yes.
I know.
Imagine being
So I think so. When he crashed into him, he paused a little bit in the car. And I'm pretty sure he was praying to God that, whatever happens, he'll still make it out of this alive. Like you've been here before, man.
Yes. Yeah. It's their home race, though, right?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, out of all the Red Bulls, he was the top out of 4. Yeah. So I think,
all right,
flex on him real quick. I get it.
I'll let it slide.
But take it easy a little bit. Nice man.
But I love that he got upset. I love that he dropped a couple F-bombs.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh man. Did you guys hear his radio about Alpine?
I did, but if you want to go ahead and repeat it for everybody online.
Okay. Oscar is he's a menace. He's scary.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Turn 14 podcast. We just wrapped up the Austrian Grand Prix, Red Bull Ring. Yeah. Quite the race. There's a lot to talk about. Actually, one of my favorite racetracks on the grid because I played a lot on the game.
Yeah.
But I know so much about this freaking racetrack. I love it a lot. But let's get to it.
Yeah. I mean, the weekend was it was kind of basic, and in some cases into obviously the race, and we'll kind of cover it. But I'm just getting excited for the couple races that are coming up. But this was Max's pretty much home race.
Yeah,
got his penalties cleared up, so we were anticipating some big things.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, Red Bull just flopped big time this weekend. So
yeah.
I think I heard somewhere that like a big chunk of the crowd just left after the incident at the start of the race.
I think I heard that.
I mean, they're all there for Red Bull.
I think I heard something about booze. I mean,
Oh wow.
Yeah, we said it. They should have just swapped Kimi out. I mean, not Kimi. Swapped Yuki out with Max and just put him in the car and just have him fucking make up places.
Man. The word Yuki now is triggering me because we advocated for him.
Yeah, we did.
And I mean, we'll come across it at some point, but
yeah,
get ahead of myself.
Talk about it.
Yeah, it triggers me as we can see.
All right, so let's get into it. Like I think the first thing, this is one of the shorter tracks of the year, but fastest lap was a 1:03.9.
Yep.
Lando Norris. So
let's go.
Just over a minute it takes to go a full lap on this track, just to give people perspective.
It's a short track.
It's definitely a short track. Very fast track, which is what I like. 3 DRS zones,
That's
10
sick.
turns, and there's just so many opportunities for overtaking in this track, particularly turn 3, as we all know, is chaos. Like that sharp, like 90-degree turn is like, even in the game, people dive bomb. It's like people crash because it's hard because it's an uphill braking zone, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, and then it's like timing it all, and then everybody,
everyone was struggling.
Yeah.
When I was watching, so I didn't get to fully watch all of practice. I just ran through like the highlights.
Yeah.
But pretty much all of the highlights were people just running off on that turn and just couldn't take it, and I guess the grip wasn't there. But it's obviously a really tough turn. It is.
Even in the game, it is a very tough turn to master because it's very hard braking, and then it's just right into a straight. So it's just like getting the braking right on this corner and then slowly pressing on the gas and like, putting the throttle in. Trail brake, if anybody knows, I'm sure we have some of our sim racers out there and just regular race car drivers out there, but trail braking is key for this corner, I think, where you're braking into the corner and slowly letting go of the brake, and then at the same time like pressing on the gas and then kind of getting that full momentum, because that corner is tricky, as we all know. But so turn 3, major overtaking. Turn 4, as we know, with Oscar and Lando's battles, and then going into sector 2, what is it? It's 5, 6, and 7, like that like inner fast corners is another opportunity for overtaking. Yeah. So, the 3 DRS zones, like I was saying, like I would mention to you, that's when we were watching, you really have to be strategic with overtaking on this track because there's 3 DRS zones back to back, right? So most people, when they are DRS down the first straight, start finish straight, they tend to not overtake because, right into the next corner, there's another DRS zone going into turn 2, 3, and then there's another opportunity for somebody to overtake. And then going into turn 3, there's another DRS zone.
It's wild.
That blows me away. 3 back-to-back DRS zones is insane. I don't think there's no
so it makes it so much fun.
Yeah,
this track is so fun. I'm telling you, even in the game.
Yeah, but
so
even
fun.
talking about those turns, there was like a major crash in F2. Somebody flipped over. Like, obviously.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of car crashes in turn 3. It's like,
yeah.
unforgiving.
Was that the corner that Lando and Max clipped each other?
Last year, Lando, Max, Kimi, Max. Now, in F2, the car flipped over into another one. Like that corner has such a big runoff for that reason, right? And by the way, the grandstands in that corner must be awesome. That's like the corner to sit in, like the grandstands you want to be at, because you could kind of see from that level the full track. But there's so much action happening turn 3.
That's so sick.
So
yeah, there's another thing about the track too, right? There's a lot of elevation change across it. So you're
that's what makes it exciting.
Right. I'm sure you get a good view from those seats, like you said.
Exactly.
Just for all of it. But this track is awesome. I love the 3 DRS zones. Just, I mean, it blows my mind. And seeing the battles on track throughout this whole weekend was unbelievable.
Yeah. It forces the drivers to be strategic, like Oscar trying to figure out when's the great opportunity to overtake. If he overtakes him turn 3, Lando's just gonna overtake unless you time it right. And the DRS marker, you hit that right before you overtake. That means you get DRS going down straight. Because otherwise, if you overtake before that DRS marker, the person you overtake is just going to get DRS right back and just overtake you turn 4.
Well, the also issue is that traffic comes up pretty quick.
Yes, that's another one
on this track.
Oh yeah,
like
it's a big part of the weekend.
Even if you're not like a second behind the race leader, at some point, maybe closer to the end of the race, you're starting to pick up on traffic and catching DRS. And Oscar was able to pick up 3-4 seconds in the last like maybe 6 or 7 laps just because of the DRS. Just because of DRS.
So just for anybody that doesn't know, you still get DRS. It doesn't matter what position the car in front of you is. Even if you're the race leader and you run up on a back marker and you're within a second, you hit a DRS zone, you're getting DRS. Yep. So in a way,
it's pretty awesome.
Strategically, it's like trying to go as fast as you can with the pace, right, with Lando. And I think that's what helped Lando a lot.
I agree.
Because he was
right at the end,
running up on a lot of back markers that was giving him DRS. So he was pulling away, being able to sustain that gap between him and Oscar. And, I think it turned out great for him.
Yeah.
So
Oscar
the traffic, I think, helped them a lot because Oscar was pulling up real quick.
Yeah.
Right near the end, too.
For the first 20 laps, though, Oscar was on Lando's ass.
Yes, he was.
The entire time.
He was.
Like, I can't even imagine just having pressure for 20 laps straight, maybe even longer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Until they decided to pit, which both of their pits were pretty shit, to be honest. But they kind of screwed Oscar. And I was pulling for Oscar to win here. And then there was a lot of things that happened, especially with him and I think it was Colapinto.
Yeah, Alpine. That's a whole other conversation with what happened. But, props to Lando. Started pole, finished on top, pole position, a podium, all the P1. I think it's great. Shows that he was able to kind of recoup what happened in previous race in Canada and not make any mistakes. I think he drove a very flawless race. Being under pressure from Oscar, who is his rival for the championship.
Right.
He did a great job.
I think it was his best drive of the year, to be honest.
Bullet.
I mean, the whole weekend, he was just
he was
killing it.
Qualifying.
Fast as hell.
It was the biggest qualifying gap of the year.
Yes.
Like
literally a half a second, right? I think I have it here.
A little more than half a second and some hundredths of a second, but absolutely.
Yeah.
You saw the graph. Remember, you showed it to me. I was like, "What?" You don't realize the distance unless you see it. Half a second is a lot. It's a couple of car lengths between, and he was just like you said, all weekend.
All weekend he
did great.
And the only reason why he didn't come in FP1 is because they put the rookie out there, which did pretty well. I don't know who that rookie was. We'll have to find his name, but he actually also did pretty good. I think it's always cool to see like the rookies come in and kind of give it a try.
The reserve drivers
I like that they added that kind of requirement. Every team has to do it.
Yeah.
It's always keeps the door open, lets everyone kind of know what else is going on.
Gives us a little glimpse.
And they can switch teams too. Like I know there's some rookie drivers that do practice for multiple teams.
That's cool.
And,
that's cool.
But yeah.
So if we top off like with just we were kind of talking about qualifying, starting grid was Lando, Charles Leclerc, and Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton. And we had George Russell right after Lewis, which was like in the first couple of laps. That battle was pretty interesting because Lewis was definitely honestly, I was really happy to see Ferrari up there, and especially Lewis P4 qualifying on a shit box that they're driving. I mean, they did come with some upgrades, some minor upgrades, which they weren't expecting was going to give them such a big boost. But they were the second fastest car on the on top of above Mercedes, which arguably has the second fastest car. But they did great. Love to see Charles P2 qualify P2 and that first corner going in. Yeah, as we know, I think
completely blundered it. Yeah.
Well, I give a lot of credit to Lando because he closed the door.
Oh yeah, he did
on Charles.
Oh, for sure.
And that gave Oscar,
which is scary because that means he opened the door for Oscar, which was able to get some clean air at least for that little bit.
Yeah.
But, right.
Yeah.
No, Lando.
Right. And I think Charles
a hell of a race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Charles even said that like had he even stayed in P2, he probably wouldn't have kept it the entire race. I mean, Oscar is he's a menace. He's scary.
Yeah.
I like for him to be behind you, man. It's why I give like from last weekend Kimi a lot of credit. Like we spoke about a bit. Like, he had Oscar there, but no, I think in general though this was a great weekend.
Yeah.
Great weekend for Lando. I don't see. I mean, with all the mistakes he's been making this season, I'm hoping this is a good sign of things to come. Yeah. But it shows that he can actually do it.
Yeah.
Like he's not just in his head. And when it comes to like pure race pace, I think Lando has always been quicker than Oscar. It's just pulling together the qualifying laps
the little things that the mental. I feel like Lando is my favorite out of the two to win the championship. Yeah, I do hope he comes out on top, and if this is a kind of a preview into what the rest of the season will look like, then that is it could happen where Lando does win the championship. I mean, he has a lot of weight on his shoulders. He's been with the team since he started, and I think he's just there's so many Oscar fans out there, which I don't blame at all, but. Lando, it just the little things, man. The little things makes a huge difference. And I was watching an interview with Nico Rosberg that was pretty much saying like Lando's very much like him. He's an emotional person, and it's just a matter of like getting your mental getting your mental space right. Yeah. Because he has all the qualities of a champion. Like he's very fast in qualifying and race pace. Right. So it's just a matter of like the little things, the cracking under pressure, like, all that kind of stuff, and making those little tiny mistakes during qualifying where he's, qualifying lower, so.
Yeah. But like, even this is why, again, this weekend was so impressive because there was that one point where, Oscar's on his tail. And I forget what turn it was, but Oscar actually does overtake him at one point. Mm-hmm. And I think Lando lets him so that he gets the DRS after.
Turn 3.
Yeah. And just grabs it right back. Yeah. And I think old Lando may not have been able to do that. And so it's exciting.
I think why part of this weekend's race was so special was because it was Lando and Oscar. They were up front. They were obviously fighting, and it turned into not just only a driver's race. It turned into a strategist race. It turned into pretty much the entire team deciding, okay, Oscar, you can't do that on turn 3. You're going to have to do that on turn 4. And I would love to just kind of hear the back and forth between the engineers and Lando's. Like, okay, this is where it is. Oscar's 1 seconds behind you. Maybe we do this in a certain turn. Like, it was really intense and in depth. And it kind of showed how important it is for the engineering and strategic people that are in the background kind of have a play in all of this. Because, I mean, it was just a whole team's race. Yeah. So that was really, really cool. Obviously, it's like that for all the races, but I feel like for that particular race and that like first 20 laps, it was intense. Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And we finally saw some emotion from Oscar, which is great.
Unusual.
Very unusual.
Yeah.
Very unusual. The Iceman.
But I love that he got upset. And I love that he dropped a couple F-bombs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Did you guys hear his radio about Alpine?
I did, but if you want to go ahead and repeat it for everybody online.
This is after the Colapinto incident, right? I think he says, after so many years, Alpine still finds a way to fuck me over. I was like, okay.
Yes.
And let's go, Oscar.
And for anybody that doesn't know the context behind that, Oscar was a reserve driver for Alpine when one of their drivers had left the team. They prematurely announced Oscar as their driver. And he was like, whoa, he had to go to social media. Like, I never signed any contracts. I don't know what this is about.
Tweet.
Behind the scenes, he was signing with McLaren. So it was a lot of it was a big mess up and it created a lot of, it was something that wasn't supposed to have a lot of drama for him. So, and Oscar, I think, is not for the drama. He doesn't like any of it. He doesn't, as very similar to Max in that sense. He doesn't really like to be in the spotlight, but that's a whole other conversation about Max. We could go into that after.
Yeah, but well, I mean, for that Colapinto incident, I think that really cost Oscar at least a chance at coming up, because at the end of the race, he was only about a second away from Lando. But that incident, I think, caused him an opportunity for at least 1 to 2 laps of actual trying to overtake Lando, which is unfortunate. But it happens. It's racing.
It is.
Yeah. I think Colapinto was distracted trying to, was it Fernando that he was chasing?
Yeah. Which was a fun thing to watch.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted before we move on to the race and all that, Max, unlucky qualifying. Yellow flag came out, a lot of traffic, and I think that's why he backed off.
Yeah.
On top of that, the car really wasn't it wasn't really there for Red Bull this weekend, and I think everybody acknowledged that. But he was on a flying lap, not the fastest, but he was on a flying lap, and yellow flag. I think somebody spun out, and and he had to back off and time. So he kind of got screwed there. He got screwed a bunch of times this weekend. But Bortoleto qualifying
That's
P8.
huge.
That's amazing.
Big. First highest qualifying so far of his career in F1.
The last week or so, I was telling Crystal, I was like, I don't know if Bortoleto's ready. I know he's in a Sauber car.
Yeah.
I know that he's in that green slow mess, but
Shitbox.
With seeing Hulkenberg perform, and then I was like, all right, so it's possible. I was very concerned that he just wasn't ready, or it's just not going to be his year. But definitely, this kind of shut me up here. He did his thing.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
finally got some points. So
I mean, Sauber as a whole, I'm so impressed.
Yeah,
that they were able to actually finally, the last year of this regulation somehow piece together. Sort of competitive car.
Yeah. Congratulations, you made it this far. Let's change the regulations.
Yeah. But they're up there on the points in the constructors, at least for I mean, I think there's like a 10-point difference between them and Williams at this point. Yeah. And there's a few. I forget the exact point total, but I love the fact that they're doing great, especially Nico. I mean, Nico started last. Yeah, and Nico, he pulled up to ninth place in the points. It's amazing.
Let's get into the race then. So
Yes,
we
let's just do
talked
it.
a lot about the Oscar Lando stuff, so
Yeah.
everybody kind of knows how that was. That was pretty much like the biggest highlight. You know, we had it was turn 3, as we know.
Yeah.
Kimi Antonelli just fucking full sending it.
Full send.
Bro,
Yeah.
locked his brakes straight into Max. Had no idea.
Yeah.
He was just an unlucky passenger for this whole entire incident because Kimi fucking overtook like 2-3 cars straight into Max's back end, and then fucking he spun out. Kimi DNF'd, Max DNF'd, and it's so funny because it's like I'm sure Max was furious when it happened, and then the moment he saw Kimi, he's just like, it's not George Russell.
Imagine being Kimi.
Yes,
I know.
Imagine being
I think so. When he crashed into him, he paused a little bit in the car, and I'm pretty sure he was fucking praying to God that whatever happens, he'll still make it out of this alive.
Yeah.
Please,
out of all people,
in all places too.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I know.
Like, oh man, I've never seen it like more obvious, like panic in a driver. Like just seeing him kind of swerve out of the way. Like it was a very clear mistake on Kimi's part. It really
rookie mistake for sure.
Genuinely was, and it unfortunately cost Max any hopes of his championship this year. I think. But Max handled it great.
He did. I'm pretty sure he thought it was George and then realized it was Kimi.
Came out ready to go.
Oh my god! Can you imagine if it was George?
Oh my god!
Oh, you'd be pissed. Trust me. He would have been throwing his helmet at him, probably running down the damn track.
I think rightfully so, though. Like, but
speaking about this whole situation, there's a lot of rumors about now with this DNF, Max could potentially. His exit clause with Red Bull is like a thing, supposedly, where he could he has a way out. I don't know how, again, with the contracts, we don't know anything, but these are just rumors, speculation.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories. Toto Wolff is actually really interested in signing Max for next year and having like a George Max team up, which would be, I don't know how the hell he would be able to manage that.
I don't think they would do that.
Impossible. But it was kind of like, hey Kimi, like just make sure you crash into Max so that way we could activate his exit clause kind of thing, So, but yeah, there's a lot of speculation with all that. George Toto being very interested in wanting to sign Max, and obviously, I don't think he wants to give up on that opportunity. Yeah. But then where Kimi goes, who knows?
That's true.
But
I can't even imagine how Kimi was feeling crashing into Max.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Saying his little prayer in his helmet before he got out. Please don't kill me.
Yeah.
I mean, being a Red Bull fan also must have been just awful. Like you said, I'm sure people would have just bounced after the race. Like Yuki,
you can't
not
really
doing well.
root for Yuki. He fucking finished.
Oh man.
And what scares me the most about Yuki is that when he had the interview, he was like, "I don't know what it is." So that scares me. Right now, he's just driving scared.
I think he is. Yeah. I think he's over driving the car, but I think he kind of has to. I mean, if you don't overdrive it, you're not getting anything out of it, and when you do overdrive it, it's impossible.
It's impossible. The operating window on that car is
do anything.
Really
narrow.
So
it's as much as there were plenty of mistakes, I think, from Yuki this weekend, regardless of the car. But I mean, I don't feel any. I think put Yuki back in the RB and he'd be up there just along with all of them. And so it's
absolutely. And I think this goes into the whole Sergio Perez sitting back, being like we said before, like I told you so, guys. Like it's not me, it's the car. And Sergio's actually a really good driver, so I credit him to Max getting his first world championship, and I think everybody was really hard on Sergio, and again, we all owe him an apology. The whole entire F1 community, fan base, everybody that was criticizing him for that car. I think it's obvious that car is really difficult to drive, and only one person can drive it and bring it up to to actually win with that car. It's Max.
Yep.
Liam. Horrible experience. Yuki's now experiencing it. Sergio last year was experiencing it. So the Hadjar needs to stay where he's at. Don't move.
Yes,
Leave him alone. And, I think this makes Sergio Perez a candidate as a potential driver to come back. I want him to come back. Yeah, actually.
Did you hear the rumors though?
Valtteri?
Who Red Bull's looking at?
Oh
no.
Go ahead.
God, I just lost his name. He was their old driver, the one that you like a lot. You said he was going to be FIA president. Or he was you wanted him for?
Oh,
Sebastian
Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel. Yes,
I did hear.
Yes, there's rumors.
About that. He mentioned that he's actually interested in coming back.
Oh wow,
he's a 4-time world champion.
Yeah,
that guy's
hell yeah,
great. I love that guy. He's amazing, and he should be.
And he raced for Red Bull.
Yeah, he did race for Red Bull, Ferrari. He's a beast of a driver. So he's one of the old heads. He's right up there with Lewis and Alonso, but the guy is very skilled. So. A lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. That would be wild.
That'd be sick.
That would change up everything, right? But I don't really see him coming back to Red Bull though. I can see him coming back for I see Sebastian coming back as let me help build up a team. Let me join Williams.
Oh sure.
Let me join Williams and let me help establish them with all my knowledge and experience with racing and. I feel like that would be really cool.
Well, speaking of Williams, they had a really good
I know. Speaking of Williams.
Up in flames.
Great segue. Carlos Sainz has such bad luck with this fucking track. Last year in Ferrari, straight into turn 4, he just had a run off. His car just stopped. Smoke caught on fire.
Oh, my goodness.
Damn.
This year, he couldn't even get off the fucking
He could even go.
Yeah. Pulling a Sonny Hayes right now.
I saw that. I saw that meme. The Leonardo meme pointing like this.
If you know, you know. We're not going to do any spoilers. So, but yeah, they finally got the car to move, and then he had to go into the pit because obviously the regulations, as you know, if it's a certain amount of time you're stuck on the grid, you have to start from the pit lane. When he got to the pit lane, car caught on fire. Bad.
Yeah.
So bad. We had 4 DNFs. This race.
Yeah.
We had Carlos Sainz, right? As we all know, Max and Kimi.
Yeah.
And
then
unfortunately,
out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere.
They didn't even cover that. They didn't really go over.
Because embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, they've had
such a hard weekend for them.
Yeah. The past few races, Williams have just been terrible. And it's I'm curious what's going on behind the scenes because I think James Vowell has always said they're not putting money into this year. All their focus is on next year. So maybe this is just the point of the season where parts are breaking, things are kind of just not working as smoothly. And
I do believe in James Vowell, though. I do think his leadership was needed for Williams to get to where they're at right now, but to potentially become a constructors champion or drivers to bring their drivers to that. James is the guy to do it. Coming from Mercedes, so he's like a Toto Junior in a way. So,
right.
So 4 DNFs during the race. Yuki almost took out Franco Colapinto.
Yuki is just taking out everybody. He clipped his wing on one person, and then he almost took out Franco.
Yeah, which is crazy. Got a 10-second, penalty, and he finished P16.
This is the last thing I'll say about Yuki. Yuki seems like Yuki's driving scared and desperately, and it's not doing him any favors. And I'm very, very concerned about him.
Yeah,
I mean it's probably very true. I mean, if you're in a situation, what other choice does he have but to drive kind of as hard as he can with this stuff? Which I think, obviously, like we said earlier, there's lots of mistakes that he made, but I mean, there's no guarantee he's getting this seat next year. Yeah. It's not very likely. Doesn't seem like it. And well, then where would he go to? Because you have Hadjar and Lawson now in the RBs.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he has a really a seat next year if he doesn't
well,
try to do anything. But
to put salt in
this
the wound,
doesn't make it look good. But.
Yeah, to put salt in the wound, Lawson finishes above Max, gets his points finally.
Yeah, finally points for Lawson.
And doesn't know how to behave. He's out there with his sleeves off, walking around.
Calm down.
Jeez, take it easy, guy. One time.
Chill
you
out.
see him, though? He has, like, just flexing, walking around. Just like, I mean, obviously, it feels good as a driver. That's great, I'm sure.
Right.
It is one race.
Act like you've been here before, man.
Yes. Yeah. It's their home race, though, right?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, out of all the Red Bulls, he was the top out of 4. Yeah. So I think,
all right,
flex on him real quick. I get it.
I'll let it slide.
But take it easy a little bit. One thing I wanted to touch on was the battle between Fernando Alonso and his his little prodigy, Bortoleto, which was really cool to see.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
And everybody was cheering. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't even need to be a Fernando Alonso fan, but if you know the relationship between them two, for anybody that doesn't know, Fernando Alonso is Gabriel Bortoleto's manager. So it's kind of like a dad-son situation going on here, and him being a veteran in the sport and Bortoleto being a rookie. It was really cool to see some wheel-to-wheel action between them and actual fighting. And then at the end, Bortoleto getting his first points, Fernando being like a proud dad, giving him like his props, a hug, all that stuff. It was really heartwarming and cool to see. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. I mean, listen, Kick fighting with an Aston. I mean, mind you, again, like this track offers so many opportunities for you to kind of catch up on someone. So
yeah.
I would like to see more tracks like this. That'd be great, and hopefully those regulations can lead to something like this. With more racing.
Yeah,
so good for him. Good for Bortoleto. Good for Kick.
Good for him. Yep. As we know, Lando wound up winning Oscar P2. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. I love that Ferrari got 3 and 4. I'll take that.
Yeah. Lewis didn't seem happy though.
He was there was a whole strategy call with him boxing. He was like, "Hey guys, I could keep going." I think one thing I don't think people realize, Lewis is like the master of tire degradation. Him and I would say like George Russell are really great with extending their tires beyond the actual life of them. And I feel like in a way, he could have kept going, but they told him to box, and it's one of those things where the communication is like they're not really giving him a reason.
It's off.
They're just saying box. He's just like, but like how many laps do we have left? 20, and he's on hards. He could probably finish the race on that, but
I think he was going for
a podium,
P3.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I feel like
they boxed him for Charles. That's
right.
Call it what it is, and Charles was leading the whole entire weekend, and let's be real, they did it because they wanted their Charles Leclerc to finish on podium. So they boxed him. And that it is what it is. It's fine. But just say that, like give him some type of reason. Don't tell me after the race or make me figure it out on my own. However, still, I'll take a Lewis P4 over anything else. And he did seem a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more positive about the upgrades that came in, and obviously he's gunning for a podium, and I think this is just a boost because he wasn't that far off from Charles in terms of qualifying. So I think there is progression, which is great, which we all want to see. We want to see a Ferrari win at least one time this year. That'd be great, whether that be Charles or Lewis. I would love to see a Lewis win this year. I'd love to see them winning as much as they won last year, but regardless, I'm gonna take it. Positive weekend for Ferrari. They outside of the whole communication thing, I feel like there is progress towards a better, faster car, at least to compete with Mercedes.
Yeah, but then it's like too little, too late, kind of at this point. I mean, everything obviously next year's is up in the air, and so they're competing for P2 in the constructors right now, which is fine, and I think it's good, but I don't think is what Lewis was expecting. And
no,
I don't know anything about anyone set up for next year who's supposed to be good, so
no,
I mean, hopefully Ferrari obviously can, but
Almost
I'm nervous. I'm nervous that this is the end of Lewis's kind of like opportunity to
turn around
truly
this year,
grab that eighth.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll see. You know, the only speculation I hear about next year is that Mercedes' engine is supposed to be like ridiculously good. But
yes,
I mean, how do they know that? Who knows? I mean,
yeah,
you know, let's see. There's gonna be a lot of changes next year with regulations. No DRS. Well, it's kind of like a different version of it, I guess.
Yeah,
it
mode
is
or whatever. But which could be cool. You know, years ago there was never a DRS.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm not giving up on Lewis. I think he has it in him. He's he's up there with like special talents like Max and a Senna and a Prost and like all those guys. Like he's definitely one of those people that are just naturally talented at racing.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's eager to.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
And he has that like the drive.
Yeah.
Obviously. So
and I think he's also he excels in the back end of stuff too, like trying to build a team, trying to build like the communication between each other, which obviously we don't get to see. And I'm sure he's working just as hard on the back end like he's doing in the front end.
Yeah.
It's just
trying to understand the culture, all that stuff. Yeah, it's a completely different ballgame. He has to figure it all out, you know? So
he's not a 7-time champion for no reason. So
yeah, seriously.
that's for sure.
So saying that, I feel like don't be surprised if Max somehow comes out on top this year.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
Don't count him out.
Don't count Max out. That's one thing I want to be
it's-
sure, because he will give it everything, and as we all know, we've seen it happen, you know, with him. So he will pull something out of his ass.
Yeah.
You know. So So the standings for the championship, I think the right now it's what, a 15-point swing between
I think so.
Lando and Oscar.
15 or 16. Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. So Lando's catching up. Don't sleep on Lando either. You know, I feel like he has a lot to prove. You know, and he has a chip on his shoulder being their driver for so long. And I think if he got rid of his social supposedly and all this stuff. So maybe you know, just kind of like focusing. Maybe let's see. You know what happens. Maybe no more partying, because I know he likes to party a lot. So, but yeah. So I don't know if there was anything else for the weekend. I think we covered majority of the highlights. I don't know. Let's see. Was there anything else? No, we covered pretty much the good stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I guess so.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. Next week we have Silverstone.
Yep.
That's gonna be exciting.
That's gonna be huge.
Oh man.
Home race for like half the grid.
That's gonna be
right.
No, I'm kidding. Well, yeah.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
technically, if you want to go based on where they're located, most of them are located in England, you know, blah, blah, blah. But anyways,
yeah.
well, home race for Lewis, obviously, George Russell, Lando, you know, so it's going to be cool. I really enjoy Silverstone. It's one of the races I would love to go to.
Yeah.
And
by now you would have seen that we're doing a giveaway there. So go to that post, follow all the instructions.
Yeah.
We'll be at Fela again, which would be cool to do another giveaway.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we have announced exactly what we're giving away, but I tell you, it's fire.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. It is some pretty cool stuff.
So definitely go check that out. That's going to be fun.
And also, one other thing that I wanted to point out and announce is Ava Dobson is going to be racing F4.
That's going to be sick.
The F1 weekend.
Yeah.
There.
Congrats, Ava.
Oh, that's awesome.
Congratulations,
really, really
Ava.
Cool.
Good.
Congrats.
I'm a clap for that. I don't want to drop my iPad, but let's go, Ava.
Let's
go. That's awesome. She's racing the same weekend as F1.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking
That's gonna
huge.
be dope.
Wow.
That's awesome.
She has a lot of experience at Silverstone too.
Yes.
So
first race there, top 10.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's
yeah.
it.
I'm rooting for her.
Keep an eye
Everybody
out.
follow,
Yes.
check her out.
Yeah.
See if you could watch the race. We're going to figure it out. I actually need to reach out to see it. Probably on YouTube, I believe. We could watch
Yeah,
it.
she mentioned YouTube.
Yes.
This is
I'd
F4.
be curious. I know. That's sick.
That's going to be cool. I don't think there's
That's
wait,
awesome.
first of all, I don't think there's any other woman driver driving this weekend.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's like a
Oh, boy.
non-championship race. I don't know. I have to look a little bit more into it, but it's a pretty big deal.
It is a big
so
deal.
I'm really excited.
That's sick.
That's
crush
really
it.
cool. So
Gonna crush it.
sending you all that positive energy, and
Yeah.
you know, we've been rooting for you here in the States. So you got to support our American drivers somehow.
Hell yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
they're not performing in Formula
Seriously.
1, as we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know if there's any like final thoughts before we wrap up.
No final thoughts. For me, at least. Just always appreciate everyone watching, liking, subscribing, doing all of that stuff. Reach out to us if you have any questions. We mentioned in our last episode, we are planning on getting some fans on.
Yes.
To talk a little bit about the sport and how they got into it. I think it's really it's an opportunity for us to kind of reach out to the community and make sure their voices are heard. So
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that.
That I'm really looking forward to because there's a lot of like passionate fans.
Yeah.
And they have a lot to say.
Yeah.
So I want them to, you know, to speak their mind, say what they need to
Especially
say,
with
share their thoughts with everybody. So
I'm excited to see what people have to say. I'm sure there'll be a lot of interesting takes at Fela there with you guys. So
Yeah. That'd be cool.
yeah.
And also like movie review coming soon. We're gonna be putting that together if you haven't seen it. Yeah. I can't wait to talk about that.
Lots to say.
Yeah. Lots to say. But I can't wait until we drop that.
I haven't heard your take on it.
I've been thinking.
Yeah, we haven't spoken at all,
Yeah,
which I love.
Yeah.
The only thing that we know is that Matthew saw it in 4DX somehow. So I don't know how he's able to do that. But
Yeah.
Drop the meme.
That's funny.
We'll talk.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Stuff,
We'll see
guys.
you next time.
Peace.
Take care. Bye.